Hello everybody, I'm Kylie G. Welcome to my little corner of YouTube where I talk about all things knitting, all yarny things. It has been a hot minute since I've been here, maybe 4 weeks, so forget everything I ever said about coming back every 2 weeks. I really didn't feel like I had anything to show you after 2 weeks, so I kind of went off my knitting a little bit. Been a little bit frantic at work, and as you will know, in the last episode chatted to you, I'd been travelling up into Cape York, and I always find I come back from those trips just a little bit hungover. Cape York hangover, community hangover, from being in a out of the familiar, I suppose. So today I've got a few things to talk to you about. I have a mammoth finished object that hasn't even made it anywhere onto the interwebs yet, not even on Instagram. I haven't posted it there. I've saved it for this. An epic finished object, if I do say so myself. Hasn't even been blocked yet. I've kept... Anyway, it hasn't been blocked yet. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 projects to talk to you about. 5 whips. I think might be more. Anyway, let's dive right in, where I've got a little bit of shopping that I did, not a lot, but there's an awful lot more coming. So much for that yarn diet. What was I thinking? Going on a yarn diet. Yeah, it's kind of like not eating food, giving up chocolate. Anyway, I've got a little bit of shopping to talk to you about, and then maybe a little bit of a life catch up at the end if we have time, if I haven't been chatting to you for too long. Don't want to take up too much of your time, but thanks for sharing your evening or afternoon or morning with me. Grab a cup of something and let's dive right in. First of all, can I say that this particular project was one that I honestly never thought I would get off my needles. I thought it would be one of those projects, like one I've got sitting over there behind this camera, that is absolutely, well, it's just it's sleeping. It's not even in timeout. It's hibernating. It's not hibernating. If bears hibernated for years and years on end, it's been hibernating for years and years on end. But it's one of those. This particular project was one that I cast on and thought, with all the gusto that you cast on a new project, thinking that I would get it finished pretty quickly. 9 months and 180,000 stitches later, my half and half triangle wrap is finished. Now it looks like a hot mess right now because it's not been blocked. I'd cast off literally, I think Thursday night, Wednesday night maybe in the week, and today's Sunday. So it's been sitting about, all the ends are woven in, just waiting for a block before I trim them all up. But the reason I haven't blocked it yet was I wanted to show you my markers, because this is what kept me motivated. These are the things that got me knitting this to the end. So just to tell you a little bit about it before I dive in, this is the half and half triangle wrap. It's a free pattern from Purl Soho. So you just, if you Google half and half triangle wrap, it will come up on Purl Soho. Now everybody and their cousin is knitting this in linen quill. I didn't. I cast this on a whim, like I do most of my cast-ons. You know, just sitting there thinking it'll be a really good idea. Because we were going camping for my husband's birthday, and I wanted something potato chippy to knit, and this is certainly potato chippy. It's just, well, this particular one is 180,000 garter stitches, knit stitches. Wait, 180,000 knit stitches. Wow, that is one tenacious knit. It's a number that impresses me. Anyway, so I knit this out of Holstgarn Old Coast, which is 50% wool, 50% cotton, which is great for the climate where I live, because if you don't know, I actually live in tropical far north Queensland in Australia. So in winter here, it really only gets down to, on a cold day, it'll get down to about 16 degrees. So it really doesn't ever get cold. I'm sitting here in a jumper today because it's 21 degrees outside. It's a little bit hot under these lights, so I've got a little bit of a sheen going on, but it's certainly doesn't get very cold here. So the cotton and merino or wool blend is fabulous for this weather. So, and I've got lots of it. Okay, so this colorway is silver. Does need a block, doesn't it? And this is dark navy. There you go. So a fabulous knit. The thing that I made a mistake with pretty early on in the knit, like at cast on, was I foolishly figured I knew better than the designer and cast on 40 more stitches, thinking, bigger is always better. Well, not so. I think this is a tad big. This is a shanklet. This is my arms are stretched out. I don't know if you can see. I don't know if you can see because I can't see what you can see, but it's big. If I were to do it again, which I am, I would only cast on the 260 at most. Don't go any bigger. I did the wrap and turns in the short rows, and I actually prefer that. I like the finish that it gives, and when you get to the wrap stitch, it's very easy for you to work out that you're at the wrap stitch. So the last time I showed this to you in the last episode, I was here. So I had knit all of this. My husband's just turned the music on the back deck. I don't know if you can hear that, but he's got some country music playing, and because it's Sunday afternoon, I hazard a guess he's cracked a beer. And here come the neighbours for a beer as well. So I'm going to sit in here and finish talking to you because you guys are far more important. Well, not really. It's just I want to talk to you about my knitting. So this is where I was last time. Now, for anybody who's knit the half and half wrap, they know that the longer the rows get, the closer you get to the end, the slower it is to get through a row because the rows get bigger. So just when you think you're sort of nearly there, you're not even kind of close. So a little bit disappointing. But what I did was each day I sat down to knit, I would put a marker in the side. So there are some days where I was feeling all very gung-ho. I knit 2 rows and I'm pretty sure I went and had a nap. There are some days where I was just determined to get it finished. Determined. But ran out of puff. that far from the end. And I was actually, I was quite unwell the week just gone. So the day that I was feeling better, and I'll talk to you more about that in Life Update if you're interested, I actually sat on the couch with ice packs, Panadol and anti-inflammatories on board while I recovered from dental surgery and did a little bit of knitting. So that was, honestly, I thought I'd get it finished, but I didn't. So I finished it one afternoon after work. So how would I rate this pattern? I understand the hype. I understand why everybody loves them. I understand why they are a popular knit. So much so that I was sort of towards the end and already missing having this super potato chippy knit available for me to sit and knit. So I cast this off. It might have been Thursday night, Wednesday night, Thursday night, I think, just gone, and then threw it at the back of the couch, a little bit like that. And cast on another one. So that's my one and only finished object, which is a little bit embarrassing in 4 weeks, but credit where credit's due, 180,000 stitches and 9 months to knit. Not bad going. I don't know how people bang them out as quickly as they do. They must be completely monogamous knitters if they're banging them out super, super quickly. So anyway, so I cast on another one. So this colour is I can't read it. Sorry if that was noisy then. Powder. How pretty. It's actually a pretty cool colour for it. So this is powder. The same yarn as I was using before in the coast yarn. And I immediately cast another one on. 260 stitches this time, lesson learnt, but a very nice knit just to sit when I want to watch a TV program or something that needs some concentrating. So yeah, but I'm really happy. I don't know what colour I will put with this, either a charcoal or a cream, and chances are I might even stripe this yet, so who knows, we'll see. So yeah, pretty excited to get another one onto my needles, obviously, because the minute I cast it off I was already missing it. Crazy, right? Crazy. So this smaller one might be slightly easier to wear. I don't know that the one that I've just knit will be anything other than a blanket to have in the car. Shanklet, light blanket. Something for the grandkids to curl up under when they're watching TV in summer with the air conditioning blaring. Because, you know, we've got to live like that in order to take advantage of our knits. So that's my first cast on. What will I talk to you about next? Now, remember I finished my calligraphy cardigan. It's got the buttons on it now. I actually wore it to work the other day. And so we have free dress Fridays. I've got this really awful uniform that I have to wear to work because it's a health service. And so free dress Fridays, and I wore that with a pair of jeans and a little navy t-shirt underneath it. And one of the other managers came around and was chatting to me sort of late Friday afternoon and said, you know, well, what have you got planned for the weekend? And I don't know. I said, oh, I'll probably knit. And he said, what do you do with all your knitting? said, well, I wear it. They went, did you knit that? You could sell that. And I'm like, man, if you had $1 for every time somebody said, you could sell that. Yeah, I could, but it would cost you $1.5 million for the amount of time it's cost me to knit and the cost of the materials. I said, like, wow, you're a really good knitter. Oh, thanks, mate. That's a lovely thing to say. He said, when you told me you knit, I thought you were like, just like really daggy cardigans. And people, honestly, there would be more knitters in the world if knitters knew that, if more people knew that hand knits didn't need to be daggy grandma hand knits anymore. Not that there's anything wrong with daggy grandma hand knits. I would happily wear knits that my grandmother made in the 70s if they were still about. And if you've still got them, good on you, lucky you. I'm jealous. But that's not a daggy grandma knit. That's kind of stylish. Yeah? And so is the half and half wrap. Like, there is some just stunning modern knits out there. So anyway, so I digress. Back on track. So I had 2.5 skeins of this 8-ply merino silk cashmere blend left, and I reached out to you all and asked whether or not you actually thought I had enough left over to do a calligraphy for this ample bust. Now, a couple of people assured me that yes, I did have enough yarn. So it's on you if I don't get it done. But I've finished the first repeat. This is the love note. And I finished the first repeat of the lace. And I'm actually really happy with the fabric that it's making. I think it will be quite a nice, easy to wear knit. You know, a pair of denim shorts and a little tank top underneath. It's probably more of a winter wear for me because I know knitting a summer top in winter, but that's just what everybody else is doing across the world, and I want to get on the summer knit bandwagon with you all. But yeah, so cast on number 2 is my second. This is the podcast of seconds. First be damned, coming second matters. Second knits are cool. So my second half and half triangles wrap and my second love note. If you remember, my first love note was a mohair glitter yarn, Stellaris yarn. I'll just reach it over here. This yarn. I talked about it a couple of episodes back. Maybe my first episode, second episode. So yeah, so that's quite sparkly, isn't it? Can you see that? Quite sparkly. So I held three yarns. This yarn, which really is, gosh, smaller than a lace yarn. It really is just a metallic yarn, a black Lolo did it yarn, and a mohair, just a mohair silk yarn with my first love note. So this is my second love note. So finished the first round of lace, and then for my size you do 2 rounds of lace, so that's pretty cool. And I've got 2 full skeins left, so I think I might be okay. What I figure I will do is I will split for sleeves and do the sleeves before I do the body, just so that I make sure that I get the sleeves done and don't run out of And then if worse comes to worse, I can rip back the sleeves slightly and finish it with a cream or something if I need to. But no, really happy with this, and I'm really enjoying knitting with 8-ply. It's it just knits up so much quicker than fingering weight, doesn't it? And certainly after the Coast yarn, because that's like a light fingering, lace to light fingering. It's a really thin yarn to knit with, although I do like the finer needles. I do like that. So there we go. Number 2, ranunculus. No, love note. I need to knit a ranunculus. I toyed with the idea of doing a ranunculus with this yarn, but love note won the day. I don't know why it won the day. It just did. So there you go. So then I had cast on the powder coloured cardigan and wanted to knit something again in slightly thicker, heavier yarn so that I could get through it quickly, because I feel like it's taken me an awfully long time to finish projects at the moment, probably because I'm knitting mammoth projects, 180,000 stitches, in case you didn't hear that. So I'm knitting quite large projects, and so I made the decision to do a, because it's been chilly here lately, I've got a longer line cardigan that I knit a couple of years ago now, and I've been wearing that as just as I get out of bed in the morning over my nightie, you know, having my coffee and stuff. It's really nice to have something that I knit to wear in the mornings, because I don't own a robe. I thought, wouldn't it be nice to have another one of these? Or a really nice long line one to wear over some pants. And well, then I got looking. This is my Hohi Locatelli pamper bucket, which I just love. So I decided, I did a little bit of hunting about, and I found the, sorry for the crinkle, petite knit no frills cardigan. Now that's a terrible black and white image, because, you know, why print colour if you're only going to be knitting from it. And it's a nice long line cardigan with pockets, raglan sleeve, top down. So I thought it would be a nice easy knit. Now, all that being said, unless you have knit a couple of raglan sleeve cardies, I wouldn't knit one. I wouldn't use this as a first raglan cardie knit. Reason being, there is an assumption in the pattern that you already know how to knit a raglan sleeve cardigan. It may have something to do with the translation to English. It's not, because the instructions aren't quite clear, and I found myself having to read it several times to get it straight, and then in getting it straight, just recognise that there's an assumption that you know how to knit a raglan sleeve. That being said, the name of the cardigan may be No Frills, but this is anything but a No Frills cardigan. This is a fancy AF cardigan, because, wait for it, how delightful is that? And wait till I tell you the fibre content that we've got here. So, fancy AF. There's nothing no frills about it. I am holding together mohair and silk, think this might be the Knit Picks Mohair and Silk, just in the cream white colourway, with Nundle Woolen Mill, their alpaca, merino and silk. I know, right? Can we just sit with that for a minute? Mohair, silk, silk, alpaca, merino. This is luxury in a cardigan. Like, seriously. Now, I am a little bit concerned. I'll just pop that back in there. I hope I don't lose it. In all honesty, mohair, not something I'm going to wear loads and loads, and we'll probably only get about a month's wear out of it every year, or when we go up to the tablelands from here. So if we go inland and up onto the top of the Great Dividing Range, it can get quite cold up there. We were up there yesterday and it was a little bit chilly. So it will get wear when I head down south and that sort of thing, but not something that will get wear as much as this would, simply because of the fibre content. You know, the mohair really isn't something I need in tropical far north Queensland. It's actually really awful to wear in the humidity, as you can well imagine. But as you can see, I cast this on in the week just gone, and there's been a fair bit of car knitting going on, and I'm really liking the fabric. It's just this super soft powder blue, and the white gives it a tonal effect, which is just really, really lovely. Very happy with it. It's knitting up reasonably fast. Yeah, and I'll knit it quite long. I will put the pockets in because I've not done pockets before. I think that'll be quite fun. But yeah, cast on number 3. So that's where I've been, not finishing things, just starting new things. I have a strange desire to cast on something else. And you know what? There's no rule that says I can't, is there? 180,000 stitches, 9 months, but it's done. Okay, what else have we got here that I've cast on? Yeah, no, there's nothing interesting in that one. What have we got in here? 1, 2, 3, 4. I have knit a little more. That was quite creased, isn't it? This has been shoved in the bottom of my bag. I've been carrying this around as my just work knitting, and that's the shawl. I don't think I've put too much more on it. I may have been here last time, so I've put some on it. I had a bout of jury duty that I needed to do, so wow, fascinating. So which, if anybody's ever done jury duty, it's an awful lot of, hurry up and wait. So I put a little bit on this while I was doing jury duty. I think I'm about due another row, another coloured row perhaps. But this will be one of those long languishing knits that you probably won't get to see all that often. yeah, I talk about it in a couple of episodes back. But yeah, so I'll have all the details down below. It's but there's not a lot to talk about there. And then I am just a glutton for punishment. I put these quite ridiculous goals on myself and set myself up for failure on the regular. So I was scrolling through Instagram, as you do, and I follow a hashtag, test knitters needed, or test knit. There's a couple of test knitting hashtags that I follow, which is a great way to find new designers, I think. Because I am a bit of a selfish knitter, I'm very careful about the test knits that I do. But I may have had a glass of wine, which is how a lot of Amazon shopping happens in my house. And I just pressed, hell yeah, I'm going to try this test knit. So this particular test knit is a summer top by a designer I've not heard of before, called Michaela. Did I put my glasses here? Let me just get her name correct, please. Michaela. Miriam Walshals. Sorry, it's here. And what it is the Isadora top, which is, let me see if I've got a nice picture of it. No, I've just got the schematic. It is you can see that. It's just a little V-neck singlet knit top, which is just really pretty. A-line. It's got a nice feature down the side here. And it's called the Isadora top. Isadora top. So I'll put all of that down here, and I've probably done it again, or I haven't, whatever. Anyway, I've done the back. Joined up for the first front seam. Now this is actually worn purl side out, which is why I thought this would be kind of cute. So I've done, that's the back. Isn't it funny how it really looks like nothing and then all of a sudden will look like something? But you know, if you know, you know, right? So that's, so V-neck at the back, quite a low V here, and A-line. I'm knitting this in Knitting for Olive Merino. So again, this is a light fingering, and I'm knitting it on, I got 3.25 needles. So thank goodness it's just a summer top, and it's not going to take me 49 years to knit. Don't ask me to count the stitches in this because it's not simple math. But yeah, I'm really enjoying this. I struggled a little bit with the instructions because there's a lot you need to do at the same time. So you're increasing across the neck and increasing into the arms at the same time, and it happens at a different rate, which if you've ever knit that kind of shape before, it can be a recipe in patience, tenacity, and hell of a lot of concentration. And again, I don't know whether it's because of the English translation, because I think the designer is German, I think. But what I actually did was I sat down one lunchtime at work, and let me just make sure I'm not going to lose my spot. Oh, actually, I'll do this. This is my Cocoa Knits Makers board, which best money I've ever spent. Well, one of the best tools I've ever bought. So not to give too much away, because it will be a paid for pattern, but I typed out every row, and because it was repeat this every third line, every fourth row, every whatever the repetition rate was, it actually was a little bit of a copy and paste exercise. It wasn't all that difficult once I sort of got the rhythm going, but I did that for both fronts and both backs, and that has been a godsend. And there's nothing wrong with not being able to read the pattern the way the designer intended. We don't all absorb information in the same way, nor do we explain things in the same way. It's why you have a synergy with one particular podcaster or one particular designer versus another designer. They just speak your language, communicate the same way you do. So if you find that you need to sit down and write things out, I say take the time to do it and you limit the amount of times you will need to rip things back, because you've taken the time to sit down and absorb the pattern. It's and look, I'm quite computer savvy and can do things relative. I sit at a computer most of the day at work when I'm not, tripping around the Cape. So I'm fortunate that I can sort of sit down and do that stuff quite quickly. But even if you can't, there's nothing to stop you sitting down and writing it out. There's something incredibly therapeutic about taking the time to understand a pattern. So yeah, so do yourself a favour, if you find that you need to. So I do have one other whip on the go at the moment, and that is another pair of high-vis socks for my husband, but they're pretty much exactly like the last pair that I knit, so you don't need to see those. So one finished object. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5 whips. 6, really, if you count my husband's socks. I should get on and finish some shit, hey? Sorry, I'm a swearer. I speak French. Do you speak French? When the people say, pardon my French? Yeah, I speak French. Okay. Shopping. Something arrived in the post that I had been waiting on for quite a while, because I waited until let me just get this out of the road. Pop all my whips in it so I know where they all are. That sits beside my chair in the lounge room. So I don't know if you saw on Grocery Girls, and if you don't watch Grocery Girls, where have you been? Immediately after this episode, please go and find Grocery Girls, because they are a hoot. They were the first podcast I ever watched, knitting podcast I ever watched, and honest to goodness, they talk more about other stuff than they do knitting, and it's like sitting down with your girlfriends on knit night. But Tracy and Jody introduced us to Yarnology a couple of episodes ago. Yarnology is an Australian knitting magazine. Now, it is more of a knitting book than a knitting magazine. It is it is just a deep dive into all yarny goodness. So I saw this on, oh, look, Louie and Lola Yarns, who are down in Tasmania. Louie and Lola Yarns. I've got some of the yarn. It's just delightful. So I immediately jumped on and ordered the Yarnology magazine. But what I didn't realise I did was I'd ordered both the current one and the new one. And they waited until the new edition printed before they sent any of them. So this yarny, just yarny goodness is, it's a deep dive into all things yarn. It talks about the difference between, explains some of the stuff that you need to know as a knitter if you want to know more about yarn. Talks about the difference between woolen spun and worsted spun. It showcases patterns, and then there's the VR code for you to click on so that it will take you straight to the pattern source. So that's their product inspiration library. There is Pirate Purl yarns. I've got those amazing shawlography cows from shawls from Stephen West. I actually finally got my sister's stuff posted to her this week, so that my shawlography is winging its way down to her now. And she lives in a really cold spot, remember. So the photography in this is amazing. The quality of the paper is just it is a real treat. It isn't inexpensive, but it is absolutely jam-packed with information that you will find invaluable. So I strongly encourage you to check them out. I'm pretty sure you can get a digital version as well as a print version, but who doesn't want to curl up with a cuppa and sit and read about knitting when you don't feel like knitting? Let's face it, every now and then we don't feel like knitting. It's not often, but every now and then we don't. So that's my only purchases this podcast. I did buy other stuff, but it's not yarny stuff, so don't need to talk about that. Bought myself some Country Road clothes and a new makeup mirror. Who knew I was that blind? I've been doing my makeup and heading off to work thinking I look absolutely fine. And I've just worked out that my eyebrows were a hot mess. Like, hot mess. So anyway, now I look at my pores way too closely. So I don't know whether a new makeup mirror is a good thing or a bad thing, but I got a new makeup mirror, which I quite love. So yeah, so that's it for yarny stuff. And if you're ready to head off and aren't interested in what's been going on in tropical far north Queensland and my life just recently, well, thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you next time. So 4 weeks. It's been 4 weeks since we chatted. Last week, super busy. Didn't get a lot of knitting done last weekend because I made new curtains. Well, I didn't make them. I hemmed them, but they were ready-made curtains for. We've got 2 6-foot wide windows on the front of our house, and we'd had Venetian blinds there. And the Venetian blinds, if you've got Venetian blinds, I feel your pain because they are, honest to God, the biggest dust collectors in the world. Look great, but my God, they're a pain to clean. So they'd been sitting on our windows for a good, about 12 years. So we pulled those down and got some, what I thought was some great curtains to hang from just below the architrave all the way to the floor. So, it's a designy thing, isn't it? But they were about 30 centimetres too long. And as delightful as having curtain fabric pooling on the carpet may seem, not the carpet, on the floor may seem, not me. No, I like it to sort of sit even with the floor. So last weekend I, because they were lined, quite good quality ready-mades, with a block out lining and a shear, I needed to unpick them and cut them and hem them. So that was my crafty stuff last weekend. And then I had planned to actually record last weekend, but I had nothing finished, because I just keep starting things. So, but I felt like it was sort of a little bit pointless coming and chatting to you with nothing finished. So new curtains, which has made a huge difference to the lounge room and our bedroom. It's quite lush. So next job we've got on the go is to do is carpet. We're going to put carpet in, but that means I've got to empty the 3 bedrooms because we've only got carpet in bedrooms. And I'm sitting in one of the bedrooms at the moment, and there's effectively 2 square inches of carpet space with nothing on it at the minute. So that's a really huge job. Not looking forward to it. Yesterday we took a drive up to the Tablelands from here to catch up with we took my mother-in-law for a drive to catch up with some family, and we had lunch out, and that was lovely. It was nice and nippy, and just really nice. I haven't been up to the Tablelands in quite a long time, so that was really lovely. And last week, I suppose the most major thing that has happened since we last chatted is I had major dental surgery. Now, I'm in the process of doing a bit of a cosmetic upgrade of my teeth, and firstly, can I say, how friggin' expensive is that? And secondly, how painful is it? Oh my God. Anyway, I had periodontal surgery, so I opted to do it in the chair at the dental surgery. They would normally do it under general anaesthetic in one go, and they did it over 2 appointments on the same day in the dentist's chair. Smart or stupid? Now that I've recovered, I think it was pretty smart because I saved myself a fortune doing it that way. But I was pretty miserable, and porridge was the toughest thing I could eat for a few days there. Not that, whatever, that you do what you do. Really happy with how it's all turned out, but I deferred the appointment. I already had one appointment a couple of weeks ago, and had planned to fly out to Cape York, a remote community, on the following day. And my daughter, in all her wisdom, at 31, said to me, "Mum, don't be stupid. That's just stupid." She was right. So I changed the appointment, and I actually ended up having 3 whole days off work, because I was this swollen hot mess of, well, pain, anti-inflammatories and painkillers to get through that. So it's done now. I don't need to do it again. So we're on to the next stage of the, tooth rehab, which is great. I've never really liked my teeth, and now you're all looking at them because I'm talking about them, so don't look at my teeth. But see, now I'm even frightened to smile because I'm talking about my teeth. Do you do that? Yeah. Anyway, on to the next stage. And I've never really liked my teeth, so now that I'm a little bit older and have slightly more disposable income, it's time I did something about them, because I deserve that. So teeth, knitting, travelling, So I'm going to leave it there for this episode. I just want to say a huge thank you for stopping by. I think this is something that I really enjoy doing, recording and talk. I feel like I get to talk to people about my knitting, which doesn't happen in my real life because I live in the tropics and I don't know any knitters who live close to me. So thanks for stopping by and sharing some time with me to talk while I talk about my knitting and my yarny adventures. If you don't follow me on Instagram, please do. I am Kylie G on Instagram, Kylie G on Ravelry, and I am Kylie G on the YouTubes, which is where you have found me. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the little bell, hug, if you want to be notified when I'm uploading new videos. And I just want you to know that if you're not loving it, stop knitting it. Put it down and knit something that you love. Knitting is fun and you're doing it for you first. Anyway, until next time, thanks for stopping by. See you later.